Janne Schroder.
And my name is Tabea Sandmann.
I'm a performer and artistic director. I'm in Porto already for like 4.5 years, and I'm part of pelo, which is a collective, and we're working with many different art disciplines in different territories and communities, combining our disciplines and creating performances and installations or exhibitions, always in order to enhance collective and individual transformation processes. And in my own project as a performer, I'm mostly researching tenderness as a performative strategy to interact in public space with each other and to question and also transform our social interactions.
I'm a movement and dance artist from Germany, but I live in Porto for 3 years now, since 2021. And I studied in Germany, I studied performing arts, and here I participated in a dance program. It's called Oficina Zero. I'm involved in very different projects in and around Porto. And I'm part of a collective, it's called The Leftovers, and we work together artistically, but as well we organize open stage, and like an open stage in Porto, which is called Muo, and it invites artists from all fields to show their work in progress, and it's very open, and we want to celebrate art in all its ways.
So maybe I start to explain a bit what we've been doing before we explain what we've been doing here at Sekoia. We started to collaborate last year. Mm-hmm. Since we studied at the same university in Germany, we have quite a similar performative approach, I would say. And we started to collaborate in order to research tenderness, radical tenderness. So what do we mean by this beautiful term? It wasn't us that came up with that term. There are many artists that are already working with it, and we find it very important to refer to these artists, such as Janne Schroder, an Italian-Brazilian artist and educator, and they are working with the term as a tool, pedagogical and activist tool, to work with bodies that had internalized different violence of the patriarchal system that we're living in. And another artist, for example, is Shada Kurt, who's a writer, and she's been writing a book that is also called Radical Tenderness, wherein she questions the conditions of radical tenderness, because for her it's almost like a program of justice, because she puts together, or she explores what happens if radicality and tenderness comes together. And basically this is also what we are doing, but in a more performative approach. So we explore tenderness as a state of being, and a state of being with each other that is formed by dedication, by affection, by love, by respect. That involves many processes of listening to ourselves, listening to each other, listening to our environment. And it's radical because we do this as two friends, as two females in this world, in a non-sexual relationship. So how can tenderness look like apart from touching or kissing each other? And our perspective is female, and it's also a white perspective, and we're trying to reflect on these conditions, not only consciously reflecting about it, but also include this reflection in our performative practice.
Yeah. And so this week, first of all, we work on a performance. It's supposed to be a performance in the end. And this week we really used to work on the movement creation of movement material. And this space really invited us to go back to the basics, so to be together in space, spend time together. and really work this physical presence. So yeah, is what Janne said, like how can we share, how is it possible to share a state of being with an audience? How do we create the conditions for this? So in this week we are working a lot with practices, like resting, observing, listening, giving space, but as well setting boundaries, for example. I think all this work that we do reflects as well on our friendship. But I think in this as well we reflect on how we relate to the world, how we relate to others in the world. Yes, and I think our aim as well for this week is to develop certain methods of how to create this state of being that is so fragile maybe, or we cannot grasp it all the time. So develop our own methods and practices to feel and share tenderness and to understand better what we mean by it in very different ways.
Mm-hmm. Almost like creating a common vocabulary that then we can turn into like a conscious and collective practice of being tender with each other.
Mm-hmm. And I think, of course, we as well looking for performative images, but we try to not put so much pressure on this process and to, I think they will arise, or they are already arising like anyway. And if we like something, we go back and we try to make it clearer. Like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm.